Grand Prix, right? Grand Prix, guys. So, first off, if you're not sub to the YouTube channel, make sure you're doing that already. Subscribe. Stats say that you're not subscribed that are watching. Some of you. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. That supports a lot. Thank you so much. So today we're looking at this Hikaru game, this legendary Hikaru game. Boy. Oh wow. Bruh. Well, let's check this out. In fact, and I briefly looked at it myself. And I wanted to actually look at this at a point from both sides actually here. So definitely Hikaru side, but definitely both sides of the board I want to look at here. So after d4, knight of 6, and c4, g6, knight c3, and we have this. And when we get this, this is why I want to look at it from both sides of the board, because we have what? A KID. Clap it up. Clap it up. Absolutely. Hey, look, we fans of the King's Indian Defense, right? And we know that. I got many videos online, obviously, on King's Indian Defense. I'll link it so you guys can have it. KID, right? KID, King's Indian Defense. So, you know, and also Hikaru. Hikaru has I actually did a top 5 on chess.com for Hikaru's top 5 King's Indian Defense games. So he knows everything in this, right? Everything. So bishop e2, castles, and bishop e3. This line is a little bit more aggressive with g4, h4 stuff. Flipping the board. This is all correct. e5, d5, knight a6. Yep, h4 is right. Knight c5, queen c2. This is all theory. c6 is correct. h5. And then you take on d5. Yep. And queen a5. There's also a bishop d7. And there is a piece sack, but I don't think it's this line. Interesting. Let's see what the answer says real quick. It is queen a5, okay. Queen a5, queen b6 is not a move usually. Queen a5 though, so we go here. The intention is a lot of times playing b5, b4. Bishop d7, and also you can take right now on e4, which is a threat, due to the pin. So h6, hitting the bishop first from Hikaru. Right, bishop backs up, it's on h8, and then he deals with the pawn being hanging after f3. Pretty solid. Bishop to d7, flip the board again, because of course King's Indian Defense players, we want to know, right, what these type of positions. Bishop d7 with the b5 option still. Rook b1, and then he's threatening b4. Gotta love the good pawn wedge. Yeah, this good pawn wedge right here, but it also, it's like bittersweet here, because this pawn actually is defending Black's king. Like, think about that. This pawn is defending the king. Bruh. White's pawn is defending Black's king, right? How does that make any sense? But White's pawn is defending Black's king. So it actually helps a lot. So you got to be careful on how you get in here. And if you can't figure that out, then this is going to be nice. Hikaru said he in 17 moves that Grishik made. He knew. Wow. Hikaru blitzed out 17 moves of prep in this game. Oh my goodness. It's over 9,000. How on earth do you even compete with that? And how on earth do you even compete with that? That's $100? $100? A 100 piece. Yo, get some hype in the chat from Bings. Thanks for $100, bro. That's nuts. Thank you. Oh, snap. He just tipped us $100. Sheesh. I don't even have a command for that. What do I even put in the chat? I don't even know to put in the chat. I didn't even know. I'm just going to put a turn up here. Thanks, Bings. I appreciate you, bro. We don't even have a command for that. Imagine 17 moves of deep every move. 17 moves deep, every move's blitzed out. Yes, correct. Yeah, every move blitzed out is very scary. I like to do that over the board as well. If you know your stuff. If you know what you know and you know how to play it, you've studied it, there is no reason to sit around. Play it. Play the moves, right? Hikaru knows it. If it's 17 moves of prep, play confidently. It's going to put your opponent in some pressure. Plus, Grishik think anyway. We know he think all day. So, you know, if you pressure him, he could be in some trouble. So Rook b1 with the intention of b4. Grishik plays knight a4. All right, let's flip it. In the situation here, I really was looking at this from both sides of the board. He was an hour on the clock that game. He was an hour. Wow. What's up, Jess? What's going on? Yeah, knight a4 is hitting c3. And this was all fine. Queen d2 takes 17 moves. So this is still prep, by the way. Now we're on 17. And this is 17 moves of prep with g4 being prep. G4. So I guess this is where they prep stopped right here. Hikaru didn't beat him off the board. The game was already won before he sat down. Yeah, a lot of times it starts in the mind. Okay, so in this position, I'm looking at this from both sides because I'm a King's Indian Defense player. I love KID. And then flipping the board here, we obviously want to see what Hikaru was looking at. And this, I stayed here when I looked at this game earlier, which you should do as well. Look at these games from the Grand Prix. Study these games. Study the players. Figure out what's actually going on from both sides, obviously, especially if you play that opening. So from white here, you know, I can see F4, F5 being a potential thing maybe. But this is not easy, right, to break through. Like, or again, we talked about white's pawn defending black's king. So, and you have to actually be careful. This takes real good precision here. And I've actually won from the black pieces many times in these type of positions. Of course, this is Hikaru here. Like, it's Hikaru, bro. I mean, so it's a different caliber. But at the same time, these positions are actually like a very double-edged, and white can get into trouble a lot of times, especially if they never get this attack off. So let's flip the board. Bishop C8 from Grisham. Bishop C8 is interesting. Wow, Bishop C8. I mean, is it like, what else are the other options? I mean, obviously you have to look at Rook C8, but that's hanging A7. Rook F to C8. Maybe a weird move, even like Bishop A4, but no, that's probably too much. Rerouting knight, yeah, knight D7, knight C5 is the total thing, but the bishop is very, very bad on C8. Very, very bad. And usually you play F5 here. I just remember the ideas wise. I study a lot of this, obviously, KID wise, but knight E8 and F5, the bishop is very terrible here. Put the knight on C5. Bishop C8. Man, that feels so bad. Feels so bad. All right, so let's see what the engine says here. So Bishop C8, Rook A to C8, and B6. So B6. It's not very appealing to the eye. B6. Rook A to C, and Bishop C8. Okay, so Bishop C8. Obviously, we're going for the reroute and F5, but you have to be careful with F5, especially with the pawn on H6. And the bishop on H8, you can't tuck. So this is a different kind of F5. Different kind of F5. Knight D7. Flip the board. He went knight F2. So what's the plan for Hikaru? G5, knight G4. You have F4. We can also tuck the king like this, JOBAVA London style. Bishop F6. Yeah, he castles, right? So he castled right here. Even if he doesn't break through, it seems like white just gets G5 and chills, and he should be better, right? He has space. He has space, but you have to know how to use this space correctly, right? He got a lot of space everywhere. Castles, Bishop E7 for an F5 break. You know that's coming. King H2, knight C5. You see, like, this wasn't an aggressive game right here. This took time. He played knight to D3 here. You have so many other moves. Knight to D3, though, this knight is really bad. You look at it, a good question to ask a lot of times is, what is the worst placed piece? And definitely, I mean, this bishop could be a contender, definitely. But you can't really get him active as much. Maybe you could try to trade him, but absolutely where? Nowhere. This knight has no real prospects. Maybe this. What do? You're never sacking? Knight D3 makes total sense. Knight D3, B6, get rid of the knight. Now we got the bishops. Takes, and we have an open file. We're playing on both sides of the board from Hikaru, and then here we go. Oh, the break. There it is. There it is. F4. Wow. So pawn breaks. Pawn breaks control the game a lot. Pawn breaks meaning like F4 and F5. Now F5 can be a move. Yeah, after knight D3, there's probably no F5. What's wrong with F5 here? I'm at F5. Let's try to find why before we turn the engine on. Takes D6 is tempting. You could also take, and well, so this is huge. I mean, you automatically have, like, for instance, this, and then Rook G1, and then Rook G7. I mean, this is just like, why would you allow this? Why on earth would you ever allow this, right? So, you know, that's probably one reason why it doesn't work. It's just that by itself. Before anything else. We didn't even look at any other line. But that right there is not appealing to the eye. Let's go back here and refresh to where this was. Knight D3, B6. He takes, and then he plays F4. He controls the pawn break. So again, F5, like I talked about before. Remember, he controlled that F5 break. And because you, like, when you can't play F5, you're in a lot of trouble. Like, you're in a lot of trouble. Hikaru, I mean, this is a super advanced prepped here. I mean, understanding the idea before it happens, beginning with the end in mind, or retrograde analysis, right? Having the end position and, you know, obviously working your way backwards from it. But this is very good from Hikaru, huge prep, because F5 is a huge counterplay. And if you can't get F5 in a King's Indian, in these type positions, bro, you're like a sitting duck. You're literally like a sitting duck, bro. You don't have anything to do. So the plan here was just he like really he outplanned him, but he beat him by just understanding the plan. I mean, automatically tactics too as well, but like, man, that's crazy because you can't do anything. If I flip the board here, I cannot play f5. Maybe I can try it now, but again, shoot, boy, you might have to try it. It's like, what else do I do? I'm kind of like sitting around, waiting for nothing. It's rough. It's rough here, and the engine gives us equal. I mean, but this is rough, right? Equal what? Maybe king h8 and then f5. I mean, again, you have to play. Remember, we talked about this earlier, but the bishop was on h8. Beautiful prep again from Hikaru because this pawn was so annoying. The bishop is absolute trash. Yeah, it's absolute garbage. White's is kind of garbage too, but I mean, honestly, after f4, hold on, like it's not as bad. Let's see what happens. He took on f4, bishop takes f4. Now we got this. Everything looking good. He got the bishop off the back rank, but look at this position. Bruh. Here's a quick question, chat. If I asked you, what opening did black play? What would you tell me? What would you tell me? If you playing black and you saw this, what opening would this be? Any suggestions? Modern? Modern, okay. Benoni. I would say d4. Nice. I'm looking for opening names, but d4, okay. We'll take it. Modern and a Benoni, right? It could be any opening. Any opening you say, Sicilian, right? I was looking for that too. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you're correct, right? And the reason why I say this is because this is not a King's Indian. Bruh. This is very far from a King's Indian right now. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good here to be in this position from the black side. From the black side. You have to sit back. Like, when on earth do you ever just sit back and wait for stuff to happen in the King's Indian? Like, I mean, I've just never seen anything. I've studied, I mean, tons of books. Probably 5 or 6 different books on King's Indian. And being in the passive play, there are lines where you sacrifice in exchanges just to have the bishop here, right? Which you see that, but it's very common in King's Indian. To Grisha credit, he managed almost all the best move and spoiler even in drinking move 40. Yikes. I know, well, we already saw this, so most people have. So c4, rook a to b8, right? He's trying to trade here. I mean, this is playing the position, playing what you have. You can't break for f5, so what does he do? He goes rook b8. We're going to go in-game style here, right? Bring the rook over, maybe bring this king over to the queen side of the board. Maybe we try to win this way, especially if we can get the queens off as well. Bishop just going to be here for a while. Maybe we get the king right here. Try to trade the bishops off next. Many things for black. Is an idea bishop h4, queen to d8 any good for black? No, in fact, after bishop h4, the problem is I can lock you out with g5. And when g5 happens, if you play queen d8, the queen and the bishop are defending g5. Well, I can play king h3, and I'm going to take the bishop eventually. It's just trapped over there. It's trapped, but good question. Rook to a to b8 is the move. Okay. Yeah, so rook a to b8, queen to c3 from Hikaru, threatening mate. Come on now. Don't hang mate. He's not about to do that. Like, come on now. So he plays f6 here, but highlights how bad this bishop is. This bishop is gross. Garbage. Look at this piece. Look at this piece. Look at this piece. Hikaru plays rook to b3. Just to double the rooks. Nice, right? Asking you, what do you do next? That's not a piece. Exactly. Premium Garbo, 100% facts. Rook to b6, and the engine went crazy after rook to b6. Look at the eval bar. Look at the eval bar go crazy after rook b6. So I'm curious. Let's flip. Let's flip here, and let's try to make a better move. Why not just take it and just replace? No. I mean, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Taking seems correct. Okay, so the eval bar didn't move. Eval bar didn't move. So far, so good. All right. So if queen takes, but I don't think he would take with the queen. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. So pawn takes, but then what? Maybe we still go here. This is miserable, boy. This is miserable. Maybe just queen b6? How do you break through here? Sheesh. All right, let's get some assistance. So what the heck is this, bro? Rook f7, queen b8, queen d8.
Bruh.
All moves you're not trying to make. Like queen b8, okay, that might be one. But rook f7, okay, that might be another one too. All right, defends. This is not easy though, and we never said it was going to be. But here, white is definitely the one playing for more. As you see this X right here, this pawn's still down here. The bishops are better. Everything's better for white. Even the king being exposed here is safer than black's king, it feels like. The g5 is some type of threat. What happened in the game was rook to b6, which was a blunder on the spot. Oh, let's turn this on real quick. The engine says best moves are rook f7, not happening.
Garbage.
Queen c8, not happening.
Garbage.
Rook b to e8, I mean, that maybe.
Bruh.
Maybe. Like, but these other ones, not happening. Queen d8, great move. Yeah, Anita, drink. Hey, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Let's flip the board. That's kind of funny. Let's turn it off. Rook b6 is just a blunder. And the best move... I mean, that's crazy how they evaluate this as like a blunder right now. Sheesh. So what do you do? It's taking g5? Let's see what he did. He played g5. Yeah, g5, definitely. Rook f7. Bishop c1, beautiful move. Back that boy up. Go around. Look at the file here. Bishop just placing it where it needs to be. Placing the bishop where it needs to be. Queen d8. Bishop b2. It needs to be here. Now this is here forever. Forever. Queen f8. Don't really know what you're doing, right? King to g2. This is a nice, like, figure out what do you do next move. There probably was something better, though, as the engine didn't like that. But let's see. King g2, right? Just saying, what do you do? Hey, your move, bro. I'm sure Hikaru looked, too. I'm sure there's probably other waiting moves. King g2 is just fine. Queen a5 would be no, because you're on this diagonal. So you don't want to move this queen at all. Hikaru has all the time in the world. Correct. He doesn't have to rush anything. So king to g2. And moves are king g2. Look at that. That's move number 3. Rook f4 and rook takes b6, which I mean you don't have to do that. King g2, bishop d8. A little shuffle here. He went queen f3. Queen e3, rook takes bishop d3, okay? Bishop e8. And then he shuffles some more. Rook takes b3. A takes. Now taking this is like, bro, have you lost your mind?
Bruh.
But I think he didn't really have a choice, right? Like are you just gonna keep this here forever? Are you really just gonna keep this here forever? So something has to happen. Something has to happen. No, I mean, literally, he has to do something. You can't just sit here. Is black here? You can't just sit here and, like, what do you even do? Like, you don't have any moves. You can't do anything. I mean, you're better off taking this, to be honest, and really hoping that the tactics can favor you and that you can run away and etc. In fact, engine says, let's see, A5. I mean, come on now. A5. A5.
Bruh.
In a position like this, that's going to be a no, my guy. It's going to be a no for me. Right, so it's f takes g5. Can't find a move, so I'm gonna take something. Yeah, that's right. That's not a move. That says I can't find a move, so I'm gonna take something. Bang! He just takes it. Queen c3. So now he's threatening mate on h8. Rook takes f1. I saw this, and then he hit him with the little in between tween, the position jug with the check burst. Then he played king f7. Hit him with another little in between tween right there. You know that's nice. King e8. Hitting with another one, queen g6, and you're like, wait, he can block with the rook. He can block with the rook. And then after rook f7, h7. Oh my. What this man been eating. That's why I say he's half man, half everything else. Big Hikaru, big fella. From the other side, wow. h7, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Look at the pieces. Look at your pieces.
Bruh.
Look at your pieces. This is a family channel, can't you right? Let me get this off the screen. Correct. Correct. So this is very bad. After queen takes g6, king to e7 happened. After king e7 happened, what was the move here? Yeah, this one, queen takes g5. Yeah, this is dirty, right? This is, man, this was just gross. He took on g5. Like, Hikaru, this was rough. Look how long this rook was sitting here. How many moves was that? Rook takes f1. I mean, it sat there like 4 moves, guys. 5 moves, 4 or 5 moves. The rook sat on f1. What kind of patience does that take? Check. Check again. Check again. I took everything you own. Everything must go, Sale. Appreciate the gumdrops. Get it off the board. Rook f6 doesn't work. h7 anyway. Oh my goodness. Amazing. King d7 and then queen g8, and this was game over. This was game over. Right? I think it was. Was this the original though? Let me actually just make sure. Yeah. So this was the ending of the game. Okay. Because if rook check, and of course people want to know what happens on rook f2 check. I'm assuming. Don't go here, guys. Don't go here. Oh my goodness. You can see this happening to somebody doing this, but you have to go back. You have to go back. Yeah, right. You have to go back, and then you're good. Send them to heaven. There you go. I'm like, oh, Chris, dang, bro, what's wrong, Chris? You all right? All right. Chris was in time trouble throughout. Yeah, I mean, come on. Chris always in time trouble. Like, you know this. You know this. Well, that's pretty cool. That was excellent game from Hikaru. Nasty stuff. And then I saw a question in the chat. What would I do differently as a KID player? That's a great question. So here, let me figure out. Here, I always play knight a6. h4 is not one that you face a lot. What you usually face is like the g4s. Like the h4, h5 right now is a rare line. It's very rare. But you still follow knight c5 and then queen c2. And after queen c2, in fact, I actually probably will go knight g4. Because usually from lines that I've studied, but no, there's b4 here. This is different. You see how it has me like confused? Because h4, he like combined like 2 lines. It's a little different. It's like h4 and queen c2. Like, you don't actually really do this that much. But I mean, it does happen, but it's weird. It's a different way that he played the move order here. But a5 is definitely possible, which is all the moves you usually play. I think a5 is the move. Let me see this. a5, h5, c6, h6 here. And what did he play in the game? Did he go g4 after all of that? Let me see. He did queen c2, and then all this happened. So he played f3 and then g4. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back. Oh, back here. Okay. The first step. So queen c2, a5 I've been familiar with because it stops b4. And then if h5, c6, h6 here, f3 is not necessary now. So maybe he goes g4 anyway. Oh no, but that's the pawns hanging. I remember this one more because now I have a4, which is a little bit different. Queen a5 and bishop d7 and rook c8. This is interesting. Oh yeah, I hear you, bro. Hey, hold on. Let me I got you. Hold on. Sure, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. Eternity, thanks for the follow. Donnie said something that Sasha didn't know the opening. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? I need a drink. Looking at this makes me think that Grisha did not know this, which is crazy that Anita Drink in the chat says that, right? Yeah, Danya said today that Sasha did know the opening. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Bruh.
You gotta know this, bro. This KID. KID serious stuff. Castle queenside is a possibility, but I think we want this, right? A lot of times we actually want this. A lot of times, like, I think I take an a4. I'm getting the move order wrongs, I know, but there's queen a5. I go bishop d7. I bring the rook over. I mean, this is like a Sicilian. You're about to get mated. Like, yo, you better be very careful. And then a lot of times I get a3 in and I sack on b3 if the queen's not here. Queen's usually placed somewhere else. But I could sack on b3 and play a2 sometimes. This is nuts. There's a lot of counterplay for black. A lot of counterplay for black. But big shout out to Hikaru. That man did his thing here. That was a crazy game. Definitely something to learn from, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel right here, guys. We'll see y'all on the next video.